I mean, so Russ, like, here's the thing, like, it would be hard for any player to go from being the MVP of the NBA to then taking on a role where you're coming off the bench.
Russell Westbrook, former MVP, 9-time All-Star, and one of the most electrifying players the game's ever seen, is now facing a harsh and shocking reality. No NBA team wants him, and critics are calling it the heartbreaking end of his legendary career. But not everyone's staying quiet. Paul George, Patrick Beverley, and others are stepping up loud and proud to defend him. Still, the fact that Westbrook remains unsigned raises a massive question. Why is the NBA turning its back on one of its fiercest competitors and biggest legends?
I always vouch for Russ. Always vouch for any time, any chance, that I can team up with Russ after that experience playing with him in Oklahoma.
In the cutthroat world of professional basketball, loyalty is rare, almost extinct. Players switch sides, turning rivals into teammates and brothers into opponents overnight. But when Russell Westbrook, once a walking triple-double machine, found himself without a team at 36, something incredible happened.
I mean, so Russ, like, here's the thing, like, it would be hard for any player to go from being the MVP of the NBA to then taking on a role where you're coming off the bench, but you still have, like I said, even me, going from being the best player to then having some injuries and have to accept, like, okay, like, I need to figure out a role. That's tough. So for Russ, to go from MVP to then be told he's gonna play this type of role and to then, go to these different teams and get disrespected by so many people. When he went to LA, he was disrespected crazy.
Yeah, that was
When he went to the Clippers, people hated on him crazy. Meanwhile, he's been the MVP of the NBA. So I feel like all those things weighed on Russ.
The players who had battled alongside him didn't just move on, they rose up to speak for him, loud and clear. Their words weren't polished PR statements or half-hearted tweets. They came with raw passion and real frustration. To them, what was happening to Westbrook wasn't just business, it was disrespect toward one of the most relentless workers the game had ever seen.
But me and Russ had a good relationship. I looked up to Russ in a lot of ways. He was, when I was young, like Oklahoma City was the team I watched, KD and him. So it was dope getting to know Russ, and he's a fierce competitor. Like, again, like you talk about greatness, like Russ to this day, like he's a little older now. Like he can still move and stuff, but he's a little older. But every day he's in the gym getting his shots up, doing his thing. The things that came out were like normal things that happen within an 82 game season in the NBA. I don't know who leaked some of the stuff in the locker room. I don't know if one of the coaches, but it was a little strange because like the things that came out, like, teammates are gonna like not see eye to eye and they're gonna get into it. It was little stuff though.
Yeah.
Every sentence they dropped hit like a full court dunk, fierce, emotional, and unfiltered. The loudest voice of all, Michael Porter Jr., Westbrook's former teammate with the Denver Nuggets, now with the Brooklyn Nets, who tore into the critics during his September 23rd, 2025 interview on Respectfully Justin LeBoy. Porter didn't sugarcoat a thing. He painted a vivid picture of a man fighting through the toughest transition an athlete could face, from MVP-level superstar to underestimated role player. And he was moved by what he saw.
I always vouch for Russ. Always vouch for any time, any chance, that I can team up with Russ after that experience playing with him in Oklahoma. I'm gonna be the first to voice, like, because it goes, like, people don't understand, it goes deeper than the on the court shit. What he bring off the court to a locker room, to an organization, is shit that you, like, it's one of one. You know what I mean? Like, he's passion, he's, talk about somebody that's just all in and all about the team.
Porter's frustration was crystal clear. He called out Lakers and Clippers fans straight up for the way they treated Westbrook during his stormy years in Los Angeles. And then he tackled the big rumor head on that Westbrook was some kind of locker room problem. Porter wasn't having it. He shut it down right there, saying there were rumors about Russ ruining the locker room. That's cap. He bought into the system. He was cheering people on. Those words hit deep because they came from someone who'd been there. Porter's defense wasn't just about friendship, it was about respect earned through sweat, sacrifice, and grind. At only 27 years old, he showed the world that real ones still recognize greatness, even when the league seems to have forgotten. Porter had seen it all up close during the 2024 to 2025 season. Every warm-up, every huddle, every gritty moment that showed what kind of man Russell Westbrook really was. He watched how Russ showed up early, stayed late, and treated every teammate with respect like the true vet he is.
About Russ? No, I don't. We don't. No, not about criticism. I mean, people going to always criticize when you're successful and you're doing your thing for this long. Somebody gonna always find something that they don't like about you.
But Porter wasn't the only one speaking up. Others were just as fired up to defend him. Patrick Beverley, the retired defensive bulldog turned podcast king, jumped straight into the fire. On the Pat Bev Pod episode from August 28th, 2025, he didn't sugarcoat a single thing. It's shocking, man. Westbrook's still stretching with the team every single day. We're talking about a man who's elite. He shot 40% from three in Denver and helped win playoff games. I don't know what's taking so long. I know the Kings love him and want to move Malik Monk to make space. Then Beverley got real.
So, when he's retired, people are going to really tell the truth about how they feel about his game. Right now, it's a fun thing to do is to make a joke out of Russ. But he the way he's been playing is since he got with the Clippers, showed everybody who he really is.
Chris Paul added his perspective.
I feel like the only people to do that, too, is the people who don't know basketball.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And don't know what it's like to compete. I know for me, Russ is one of my closest friends. You know what I'm saying? And so people that do that and talk crazy probably wish they could be in that situation. You know what I mean? So
it's a little disrespect that Russ hasn't been signed yet, if I'm honest. That line hit hard. Coming from Pat Bev, the same guy who once had beef with Westbrook, those words meant something. Everyone remembers their tense history from 2013 when Beverley's aggressive defense led to Westbrook's meniscus tear, costing him crucial playoff time. That was pure bad blood back then. But years later, the game brought them full circle. By 2023, they were teammates on the Lakers, and something changed. Enemies turned allies.
He just waited. I'm kind of a little slower, so he just waited me to get to the spot, and he passed it always on the right time. So he always. I mean, he's a great player. I think people and teams that he was past misunderstand him and didn't give him the opportunity to be who he is.
They built real mutual respect, even friendship, after facing the same brutal grind of NBA politics and nonstop media pressure. Beverley made sure people knew the truth, shutting down the locker room cancer talk for good. When I was with the Lakers, I was like, Russell Westbrook a cancer? Now that's cap. He was the hardest worker, always brought energy when we needed it. Coming from someone who used to be on the other side of that rivalry, that kind of testimony carried serious weight. If Russ really was a problem, Pat Bev wouldn't be risking his own credibility to defend him like that. And then Paul George stepped in with his own voice on Podcast P with Paul George on August 15th, 2025. And his tone said it all. Man, Russ unsigned? That's wild to me. After what he did in Denver, coming off the bench, sparking that run to the semis, teams sleeping on him like it's 2017. George didn't stop there either. I saw it firsthand in LA. His leadership kept us locked in when Kawhi and I were banged up. George's perspective hit deep because he'd lived through it all. The highs, the heartbreaks, and the grind alongside Westbrook. And if he's saying the league's sleeping on him, maybe it's time the NBA wakes up fast. Paul George went even deeper, opening up about his bond with Westbrook from their Oklahoma City days. We wanted him back. No cap. He's just so valuable, man. It's not just about points or assists, it's that fire. He teaches the young guys how to compete. If Philly had space, I'd vouch for him tomorrow. Those words weren't scripted. They came straight from the heart. What made these defenses so powerful wasn't just who said them, but when. None of this came when Westbrook was shining or stacking triple doubles. It came when he was being overlooked, doubted, and left without a team. These weren't pity statements or loyalty favors. They were raw, emotional shouts of support for a player who had clearly earned the love of his peers. Porter, Beverley, and George all used their platforms to say the same thing loud and clear. You're wrong about this guy. You don't know what he brings. And the love didn't stop there. Heavy hitters like Kevin Durant and Chris Paul also came forward to back him. When asked about the constant criticism Russ gets, Durant didn't hesitate to respond, showing that no matter how much time passes, real respect never fades. Then Chris Paul added his take, reminding everyone that Russ's competitive drive and work ethic are the kind of traits young players should be learning from. Even Raymond Felton, another former Oklahoma City teammate, jumped in with emotion. The man has been hated on his whole career. How can you just disrespect the man and his loyalty? Felton made sure people remembered that when Durant left OKC in 2016, Westbrook stayed. That's character right there. That's loyalty most players don't have anymore. And even Nikola Jokic, the 3-time MVP and one of the calmest guys in the league, stood up for him. After a controversial game where Russ made a few late mistakes, Jokic brushed it off saying, "It happens. Everybody makes mistakes," simple words, but they carried weight, especially coming from someone who had shared the court with him every night. These moments weren't random. They formed a pattern, a loud chorus of real ones who actually played with Russ, standing up for him when it mattered most. From Austin Reeves to Bradley Beal, Aaron Gordon to Jamal Murray. They all spoke highly of his leadership, his energy, and his grind. These are the qualities you can't measure in a box score, the ones that hold a team together when things get tough. The gap between the media's cold takes and what his teammates say couldn't be more clear. The players who know Russell Westbrook, they see a legend still giving his all, while the outside world just sees numbers on a stat sheet. It sparked one heavy question. Who should we really trust? The teammates who went to war with him every night, or the analysts and fans tossing opinions from their couches? That's where the truth hits hardest. The passionate words from those who actually played beside Westbrook made the whole situation sting even more. Picture this. It's September 30th, 2025. NBA training camps are in full swing, media days are over, and every team is locked in for the new season. Fresh jerseys, new lineups, and hype everywhere. But there's one shocking name missing from all of it. One that has the entire basketball world whispering and wondering. A 9-time All-Star, a former MVP, the all-time leader in triple-doubles with over 200 to his name, and he's unsigned. At 36 years old, Russell Westbrook, yes, that Westbrook, is staring down an empty season for the first time in his legendary 17-year career. No contract, no locker, no team to call home. It's a surreal moment, the kind of silence that doesn't fit a player who's done everything for the game. This wasn't supposed to be the ending. Just a few months back, he had pulled off what fans called a redemption arc in Denver. Coming off the bench, he delivered pure hustle and energy night after night, averaging 13.3 points, 6.1 assists, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.4 steals across 75 games. That's still big-time production. And shooting nearly 45% from the field, with his three-point shot climbing to 32.3%. He blended perfectly with Nikola Jokic, sparked life into the second unit, and pushed the Nuggets to the Western Conference semifinals. His comeback story was so strong, he even landed 7th in 6th Man of the Year voting, a crazy achievement for someone critics had completely written off a year earlier. That's pure resilience. But then came June 29th, 2025, the move that changed everything. Westbrook declined his $3.4 million player option with Denver, betting on himself one more time. He wanted a bigger role, better pay, and a team that truly believed in his fire. And honestly, who could blame him? The logic made perfect sense. He had proven he could still play high-level basketball, bring leadership, and inject raw energy into any team. Every analyst thought at least one franchise would make the call. The phone should have been ringing off the hook, but it didn't. Not once. As summer faded and training camps opened, the silence stayed deafening.
You know, I was thinking, I just saw a stat that the Lakers' Russell Westbrook is the least guarded guard in the NBA. That teams essentially don't guard him and beg him to shoot. He is also simultaneously shooting 15.5% from the field in the last 2 games, the worst mark over 2 games of any Laker ever.
The market for Russell Westbrook, one of the most electrifying players the league has ever seen, just vanished. No offers, no workouts, nothing. For a player of his caliber, it felt unreal, almost like the league had turned the page too soon. This isn't just about a player without a team, it's about a cultural icon being ghosted by the game he helped build. We're talking about Russell Westbrook, the man who changed how we view the point guard position forever. A fashion trailblazer, a relentless competitor, and the only player since Oscar Robertson to average a triple-double multiple seasons in a row. He shattered records, inspired generations, and gave his all every night. And now somehow he's left waiting in the dark. This is the player who stayed loyal when others walked away. When Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook didn't flinch. He stayed, carrying a rebuilding Thunder team on his back through sheer willpower and determination. He didn't just play, he willed that team into the playoffs. That's loyalty you can't fake. This is a future Hall of Famer, a legend stamped into the NBA's 75th anniversary team. A man who's poured nearly 20 years of sweat, grit, and passion into this game. And yet somehow, here we are, watching him fade from the league's spotlight. September 29th, 2025, Media Day came and went like any other year. Except this time, there was one massive void. For the first time in his career, Westbrook wasn't there. No smile for the cameras, no quotes about chasing another ring, no jersey reveal. As his peers suited up and posed in their new colors, the silence around him spoke louder than any press conference ever could. The sight of 30 teams moving forward without him hit fans right in the heart. Social media exploded within minutes. Timelines flooded with disbelief and sadness. One post read, "Russell Westbrook is really teamless at Media Day? This is unreal, bruh." Another said, "I'd be shocked if Russ doesn't play. If he doesn't, man, that's just sad." You could feel the heartbreak through every comment.
Said this on a recent interview with Shannon Sharp of FS1. Magic said, "You got to own your stuff. You can't keep blaming the media and the fans." I don't think it's in him. I don't think it's within Russell Westbrook's personality. Is that what made him a Hall of Fame level player is now a hindrance. Is that he is so singular-minded that, and his belief in himself is so strong, he can't acknowledge weakness.
Fans didn't just miss the player, they missed the energy. One message in particular hit harder than the rest. "Damn, it didn't dawn on me. Free agents don't have Media Day. Probably feels crazy for Russ." That one simple line cut deep because it was real. It captured the emotional side no one talks about. The emptiness of watching your world move forward without you. The sting of feeling forgotten by the very game you helped shape. It's not just about basketball anymore. It's about identity, pride, and legacy. How did it come to this? How does a player with Westbrook's resume, an MVP, a triple-double record breaker, a living symbol of intensity, end up sitting on the sidelines like a rookie waiting for a call? The answer isn't simple. It's layered. Part personal, part systemic. Westbrook's situation reflects something bigger happening across the NBA. The league's shifting faster than ever, and players like Russ, old school warriors who dominate the ball and live for downhill drives, are becoming rarer by the day. At 36, turning 37 in November, Westbrook represents a dying breed, the high-usage, full-throttle point guard who crashes the lane like a wrecking ball and thrives on chaos. But the NBA today is obsessed with something else: efficiency, spacing, and three-point shooting. Teams want shooters spreading the floor, not slashers attacking it. And even though Westbrook still got that fire, the game around him has changed, maybe faster than anyone expected. But here's the twist. Legends like Russ don't just fade quietly. If there's one thing we've learned about him, it's that he's never gone down without a fight. And this battle might just be his toughest yet. Russell Westbrook's biggest challenge right now isn't heart or hustle, it's fit. His game doesn't slide neatly into today's ultra-structured, analytics-driven NBA systems. Teams obsessed with spacing and efficiency see that career 30.5% three-point percentage and immediately flinch. In a league where shoot or sit has become the rule, a player who thrives on attacking the rim and controlling tempo suddenly feels like a misfit, no matter how legendary his resume is. But it's deeper than just style. The league's new salary cap setup, especially with the first and second apron rules from the latest collective bargaining agreement, has teams acting like accountants instead of risk takers. Every dollar matters now, and even veteran stars get side-eyed if they can't bring obvious value at the right price. Reports say Westbrook wanted somewhere between $5 and $7 million a year.
I was a great student in school. I didn't rely on basketball. My parents always told me, you need to get a good education. And I was actually thinking about going to Stanford just for academics out of high school. So, that was my first option. Basketball was just another way to get to college for my parents wouldn't have to pay for it.
A modest number for a player of his stature, but still above the veteran's minimum of $3.3 million. Yet even that was too much for most front offices. They looked at his age, his May 2025 hand surgery, and his fading athletic burst, and they just said nope. The market spoke coldly. His value, at least in their eyes, had fallen. League insiders claimed a few teams showed interest, but none went all in. The Sacramento Kings looked closest to making a move, exploring trades to open space by moving Malik Monk or rookie Devin Carter. But nothing stuck. Even with one of the hardest working players in the sport available, teams played it safe. And that's what makes this situation sting so bad, because Russ wasn't washed. This wasn't some washed up veteran clinging to his past. He had just finished one of his most balanced and selfless seasons in years. In Denver, he accepted a smaller role, came off the bench, ran the second unit like a general, and clicked beautifully with Nikola Jokic. His energy off the bench gave the Nuggets a serious spark, and fans loved it. He proved he could evolve, that he could fit within a system and help a winning team without needing to be the main star. Yet somehow, even that wasn't enough to silence the critics. One analyst bluntly asked, if he was that good, why didn't Denver just bring him back? Why didn't other contenders jump at the chance to sign him for the minimum? And that right there exposed the truth. The NBA has no room for sentiment. It's ruthless math now. Production, cost, and age. Nothing else. What's happening to Westbrook isn't just about his jumper or his contract. It's about a shift in how the league values players. Front offices are chasing efficiency models, and that leaves old school warriors like Russ on the outside looking in. For all his heart, leadership, and intensity, the game he mastered is no longer the game most teams want to play. The disconnect couldn't be clearer. His teammates see fire, loyalty, and leadership. Executives see a 36-year-old with mileage and a pricey contract ask. And that gap has left one of basketball's fiercest competitors sitting in limbo while the new season gears up without him. Then comes the hard truth. No matter how loud the defenses from players and fans get, the reality stays cold. Russell Westbrook remains unsigned. With every passing day, the chance of seeing him on an NBA court to start the 2025-26 season slips further away. The conversation's no longer, will Russ find a team? It's why can't he? And the answers, as painful as they are, reveal the brutal reality of time. The athletic explosion that made him unstoppable has slowed. That lightning first step, not as sharp as it was back in his 2017 MVP days. His body's been through wars, the surgeries, the falls, the hand injury from May 2025 that required ligament repair. His minutes told the story too, from 34 a night with the Clippers down to 27.9 with Denver, and just 18.2 during the playoffs. These aren't shots at him. They're reminders that every great eventually faces the clock. For Russ, the question isn't whether he can still play. It's whether today's NBA still wants a player built like him. And right now, that answer hurts more than any loss on the court ever could. The shooting struggles, they're a major sticking point. Russell Westbrook's career 30.5% from beyond the arc has always been the stat that haunts him. In today's NBA, where every team lives and dies by the three, that number screams red flag to GMs obsessed with floor spacing and shot efficiency. Even though he bumped it up to 32.3% in Denver, his best since that iconic MVP season, teams still weren't buying it. They saw the improvement, but they didn't trust it to last. Add to that the turnovers, 3.2 per game last season and a career average of 3.9. And you can see why some execs hesitated. In a league built on precision, that kind of stat makes them nervous. But here's where it gets deeper. The biggest issue wasn't even numbers, it was perception. That unshakable belief that Westbrook's aggressive, high-speed style just doesn't equal winning basketball anymore. And that's harsh, especially considering he helped Denver win a championship. Still, it's a narrative that's taken over NBA front offices. The concern isn't that he can't play, his production proves he absolutely can, but that how he plays doesn't mesh with what today's teams want. It's a brutal shift in philosophy. Sports commentator Colin Cowherd broke it down perfectly. Teams want ball movement, not ball dominance. They want guys who can thrive off the ball, spread the floor, and make lightning-fast reads. That's the modern blueprint. But Westbrook's whole career was built on the opposite, holding the rock, attacking the paint, and forcing defenses to collapse. It worked when he was younger, quicker, and stronger than everyone else. But at 36, with a few steps lost, it's become a tougher sell. An anonymous scout didn't sugarcoat it either. He isn't a natural role player. And that right there cuts to the heart of the issue. Teams need adaptable pieces, not dominant personalities, especially ones still asking for $5 to $7 million when the vet minimum sits around $3.3 million. To executives, that number looks steep for a player turning 37, coming off surgery, and expected to come off the bench. The math just didn't add up. Front offices ask themselves, why pay extra for a vet when they could sign a younger, cheaper player with upside, or use that same cash to lock down rising stars already on the roster? The new CBA's first apron rules made it worse. Teams hovering above the $178.1 million threshold were trapped, unable to make meaningful signings even if they wanted to. Take the Houston Rockets, for example. They were about $1.25 million over the apron, enough to stop them from signing Westbrook even after losing Fred VanVleet to an ACL tear. The Sacramento Kings, his most talked about option, hit the same wall. They couldn't move Malik Monk or rookie Devin Carter to open a roster spot, and by October 1st, it was clear the deal wasn't happening. The silence got louder with every week, and that's when people started connecting the dots. 3 straight teams, the Lakers, Clippers, and Nuggets, all choosing not to bring him back. Even Denver, where he'd actually fit and produced results, passed. That sent a message to the rest of the league. If the team where he worked best didn't want him again, maybe the league had made up its mind. To make it worse, whispers resurfaced about supposed locker room tension. Teammates like Michael Porter Jr. called those stories cap, saying Russ was nothing but supportive and hardworking. But one anonymous Nuggets player reportedly labeled him so immature, and a rumored dispute with assistant coach David Adelman during the playoffs kept the drama swirling. Whether true or not, the perception stuck, and perception in the NBA can kill careers faster than injuries. By late September, the writing was on the wall. Westbrook might actually start the season unsigned. That reality felt surreal. League insiders quietly admitted they wouldn't be shocked if he remained a free agent well into the winter. The whole situation started looking eerily similar to what happened to Carmelo Anthony back in 2022. Another superstar suddenly left out of the league until the Lakers finally threw him a lifeline. So now everyone's asking, what's next for Russell Westbrook? The options are few and fading fast. The Sacramento Kings still look like the most logical fit, especially if they clear room for him to reunite with DeMar DeRozan and play behind Dennis Schroeder as a spark plug off the bench. That setup could actually work, a mix of veteran leadership and second unit firepower. But as of October 1st, 2025, nothing signed, nothing solid. Other teams have been floated. The Golden State Warriors, who could use a burst of energy off the bench. The Miami Heat, always open to veterans with heart. And even the Detroit Pistons, desperate for leadership in a young locker room. But right now, those are just whispers, not offers. And if no NBA team steps up, overseas options might come knocking. EuroLeague clubs could easily throw serious money his way. And let's be real, seeing Westbrook dominate in Europe might just remind everyone what they lost. Because one thing's for sure, love him or doubt him, Russ doesn't back down, and the league might soon realize what it's missing if he's gone. For a player who spent his entire life in the NBA, who's become a cultural icon, a fashion trendsetter, and a symbol of pure intensity, playing overseas feels like a last resort, not a dream move. For Russell Westbrook, who's built his legacy right here in America's biggest basketball stages, that kind of move would be about survival, not passion. And retirement, that's another whisper floating around, but don't get it twisted. Everything about Russ right now screams that he's not done. His dedication is still unmatched. He's still training like a monster, running full drills, keeping his body sharp, even hitting workouts from his yacht, because to him, the grind never stops. He's staying ready for the call he still believes is coming. That's not a man preparing to walk away. That's a man preparing for one more fight. Westbrook once said his mindset has always been about options, never being trapped by one definition of success. That same mentality might be his secret weapon now. It's what's keeping him calm in the storm, believing that even if basketball turns its back for a moment, he still has the power to write his own ending. But as the days pass, the reality grows colder. Training camps have begun, and there's still no Russ. Media days came and went, and his name was nowhere in sight. The regular season is creeping closer, and teams are locking in their rotations, building chemistry and setting game plans, all without one of the fiercest competitors the league has ever known. The window for him to join a team is shrinking fast, and the silence feels heavier with every passing day. His unsigned status forces everyone to ask the tough questions. Where's the loyalty now? How did a player who gave everything to the game end up frozen out? And how fast does the NBA move on when your star power dims just a little? The truth is harsh. Professional sports don't run on emotion or history. They run on business, cold logic, and numbers. No matter how many memories a player creates, the league rarely stops to honor sentiment when there's a younger, cheaper option waiting in line. As October unfolds and the 2025-26 season inches closer, Russell Westbrook's future still hangs in the balance. Will Sacramento finally make room for him? Will another contender swoop in last minute? Or will he choose to take control and walk away on his own terms, leaving the game before it leaves him? Whatever happens next, one thing's for sure. Russell Westbrook's story isn't over just yet. His fire's still burning, his passion's still real, and the league might not realize what it's missing until he's truly gone. So tell me what you think. Should Westbrook keep pushing for one last shot, or is it time for him to bow out on his own terms? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video with your crew, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive NBA deep dives. See you in the next one.